Hello friends, I am back with the weekly video recap of what I've been up to with my stitching. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, and welcome if this is your first time here. I am Sen, I am an artist and designer, and this is my little place on YouTube for everything cross stitch. I tend to try my best and do weekly updates on what I've been up to because I do tend to stitch a lot. So it's one of my main hobbies. It's also part of my business because I do have a small cross stitch business. I make patterns, which you can find in the description below. You might see some of them in my weekly updates, depending on what I worked on. But yeah, today is the 21st of January, so this will be our last weekly meetup in January. Next time will be February with the January overall recap, because so far I've been very adamant in keeping track of my stats. Maybe this year will be the year. Who knows? We will see. But we also have our customary little buddy here, our stitchy buddy. This is Seto. He's one of my two little boys. If you're here frequently, you've seen him. He always appears when I start talking to the camera because he thinks I'm talking to him. But that is this guy. The other one is somewhere over to this side. He has like a place where he sleeps next to the door, but you can see it. But yeah, without much more waffling, let us proceed to see what I've been up to last week. It's been another slightly lower stitchy week because I've been quite busy with work. I'm also still getting over this annoying cold, although I think at this point it's just this lingering dry cough that you tend to have after like some lung infections or such that can take up to 10 weeks or so, I've heard, and I certainly hope not. It's already been almost a month and I'm tired of it. But yeah, let's move on to my desk. I tend to do like the actual stitching top down, so we will see what we have this week. All right, first thing that I worked on, and I think I mentioned it in my last video that I was going to do a restart of the model for this new pattern, and that I'm doing for some time in late spring, early summer. And I have started the restart on this beautiful printed Ada that I ordered. I do not have like the other version on hand anymore, but you can check my previous video for it. Also, I haven't printed out a picture of this yet, so this will come along as I do it, and you will see how it proceeds if you stick around. But this is what I did on this one. Just a small start with 230 stitches that I did last Monday after filming. So this is where this one is at, and I will continue it now that I have finished the February model, which I will show you at the end. Next one I worked on is this one. I am trying to grab like some of my smaller whips so that I can get a few out of my 100 and something whip count finished this year. So this one got quite a bit of love. You will see it in the before and after, and then I will try to find for you. I got this one from a magazine. Let me find the picture of what it will look like, because I have like an online magazine subscription, so I get a lot of patterns from my online magazines, like online version of mainly American magazines, I think. This is what it will look like finished. I'm just stitching this with some unbranded floss that I had in my stash on this, I believe, 14 count glittery Ada, and it's from World of Cross Stitching. Let me check who it is by, because I don't think I have it on here, but since I am keeping track of my projects, the designer is Gemma Pratt. So we are now at 34% with this one. So let me put this one away. I'm trying to not put too many pauses into my videos because that's a lot more editing than just doing it like this. Next one I worked on is another small magazine pattern, and everything's hanging. It's lovely. So I will have to get back to figuring out how to keep order here. So this one I previously, I think, only worked on once when I started it in probably also Mania. So this one is, let me see, my handy dandy cards that are on there. So the designer of this one is Kate Spiridonova, and I hope I'm not butchering that. And it's also from a magazine. Everything's falling. I need to figure this out better. So this is what it will look like finished. And I do believe it is charted with some fancy flosses, with yeah, gentle arts, but that's not easy for me to get here in Germany. So I'm just doing it with the DMC conversion with CXC threads. And if you've been around here for a while, watching me and following me, you might see something peculiar. I have started using an embroidery hoop because I tended to be exclusively stitching in hand. And when I started using like looser fabrics, like the 32 count, 2/2 and all that, where the fabric is super soft, I was like, yeah, maybe I could just try. Like, I did try stitching in a hoop before. I didn't like it. So then I was giving it another try with another project with a very soft fabric, and I figured that I liked that a lot more. And then I was like, yeah, maybe I could try it again for other projects as well. And I did, and I ended up liking it. So now I am using a somewhat smallish hoop to stitch. I'm not sure if I will use it for every project, and I will always be a little bit worried that the creases will not come out, especially with fabrics that I'm not supposed to wash, but we will see. But anyway, this is where this one is at. It did get a little bit of love. Let's see, also almost 300 stitches, so not too bad for a small project like this. So let me put this away and show you the next one that I worked on. I'm just in these like regular cheap baggies, and maybe I will figure out, like, maybe I will find the time and the opportunity to do more project bags for myself, so that my projects can live in pretty bags as well. Next one I worked on, and these are not in order, so this was actually one that I worked on yesterday, but this is the order that I have them on my desk, is this one. And I moved around a little bit more here, and also did some more filling here in the background, which you will see in the before and after. I'm probably gonna put it right here. This got a little over 500 stitches. Since it's not that large of a pattern, this is what it will look like finished. I got this one from Etsy. The shop name is Oh My Stitches shop on Etsy. And I'm just stitching this on. I am not sure if this is a 14 or a 16 count. So I think it's a 14. But I digress. It's a very cheap, very stiff fabric, but it works for this one. So that is what it's on. Not a fabric that I'm gonna order again, but it works. And if it works, it works. So another one that I picked out again, which has been languishing for a while, hasn't been touched, is this one. I used to stitch on this every Friday, and I haven't in a while because I want to give all of my other projects some love. Talking is hard, I swear. So this is where this one is at. I also tried using a hoop for this, which worked well. I think I'm actually starting to prefer it. And I worked up here in the background. Oh, it's actually not the background, it's the second hand. So It's hard to see with this one, what is background and what is not. But up here in this double row. Since at some point I started converting this from Royal Rose to the typewriter method. And I think I'm gonna be doing like some half and half sort of situation with this. We'll see. But this got 731 more stitches in. So not too many, not too little. It's really hard to see like progress with these large pictures when there's not that much progress. But as I said last week, when I also had like a little low stitchy week, every stitch counts. So that's for this one. So that being said, the last one that I worked on and finished last week is the model for February's Patreon pattern. I have not fully finished it yet, so it still needs to be ironed and framed, but the stitching is done. And this is what this one looks like. And I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's so cute and dainty. But yeah, this was the one where I started using a hoop, because this fabric is 32 count, I believe, Murano. Let me see, I think I wrote it down. Yeah, 32 count Murano in pink marble. And I did this 2/2 with DMC, and stitching this one in a hoop was so much faster. Not necessarily saying my stitches are looking more neat or more even, but it was definitely faster. So this will need a little wash and an iron and then get framed. So I will probably show you the fully finished one next week when it goes up on Patreon. I do have a frame for it that I picked out, so we will see how that will look. Could show you, but let me see. I have it right here. Because I did buy 3 different frames, and so just so I could check which one I liked best. And this is the one that I am putting this in. It's just soft pink with white. So we will see how that looks when I actually do it sometime this week. But that was all for last week. And let's move back around and chat a little bit about what I'm planning to do this week. All right, here we are again. Welcome back. And we are done with this week's update. So as for, this is usually the part for like, what am I gonna be up to this week? I will, well, probably work a little bit more on my summer model stitching. I will think, well, since it's still early, it's still January, I'm still in a bit of a winter mood, but I'm very ready for this winter to be over and spring to hit. So I might already start on the March pattern, like on the design process for it, so I can start stitching it. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do for March. If I'm already gonna do the spring version of like the little band sampler house and motifs that we had autumn and winter for, or if I'm gonna do something else for March, because March is obviously also St. Patrick. I cannot talk today. It's fantastic. Also St. Patrick's Day in March, and I do, while I'm not Irish or anything, I'm German, but I do like the shamrock theme things that you usually get, so I might do one more of those. And the shamrock mandala that I did last year was pretty popular, I believe. So I might do that and put the actual spring version for April. And yeah, we'll see what I come up with. And because I am kind of liking the like mandala sampler style, but I also like the cutesy vibe. So I am, as always, a multi-passionate artist, and I don't think that's ever gonna change. And if you watched my whip parade, you will see that I like a ton of different things when it comes to stitching or in general. So yeah, that's me. I'm chaotic. I like a lot of things. So yeah, that being said, life update, not much to say. So that I'm still a little, well, I'm still getting over this cold. I have something in my eye. Give me a second. And other than that, I've not been doing much. So working, stitching, not much happening in a week usually for me. And my birthday is coming up, so I still have to choose a birthday start. Maybe I'm not even gonna do one, we'll see. I've not decided on one yet. And I am, in all honesty, starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of whips that I have. So I technically really want, while I still want to start things, I want to start all the things. I have a mountain of patterns that I want to start, but I also want to get some of those whips done and work against like my decision paralysis. What am I gonna stitch today? And free up some space for new things in my stitchy shelf over there. So now I've waffled. What am I gonna do next week? I will, and I might change my plans tomorrow, who knows. I want to pick out a few patterns that I can get to 25%, which will probably be smaller ones, and get them to 25%. I do not know how many those will be. We will see. And maybe because I have way more patterns that I could get to 10% than I could get to 25, I might also do that. But that is the plan for now as of today. I also have 3 D&D games that I run this week because there has been like some shuffling in schedule, so I probably will have to take some stitchy time to allocate it to D&D prep. So might be another low stitchy week this week. We will see. But then again, I also need to still sit and relax a little bit, which I have a hard time doing, but I need to slow down so I can get rid of this, whatever this lingering cold is. So maybe I will work a little bit less and do some more stitching. But yeah, you will see next week, I suppose. Since none of us can see the future, I believe. If any of you can, put it down in the description. Tell me what I will do next week and we'll see if it's true. But yeah, other than that, let me know what you've been working on while watching, if you have been stitching. Which one of my projects is your favorite of the one that I showed. Just drop me a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I would be very thankful for you. Feeding the algorithm is always a good thing. And other than that, I will be seeing you hopefully back here, same time, same day, next week in February. January has been long enough. Bye bye and happy stitching.